die from heat training. To 50% of your fitness gone because of heat training. Mess with your brain, your focus. So important. Insane. Good morning, you beautiful people. And I thought we would talk about one of the most hot topics in cycling right now.
Heat training.
Heat training.
Heat training.
Heat training.
Heat training.
Heat training is something I have started doing. It is basically, for you that don't know what heat training is where you raise your core temperature to a certain threshold for a certain amount of time to improve how you handle the heat. Not only handle the heat, but has other benefits to it, like plasma volume, can improve other things as well. It also makes you sweat earlier. It improves how your body handles the heat and how it cools you off. Its natural ability to cool you off. The benefits of it, like I said, can improve your VO2 max even in cold conditions and hot conditions. There was a study done by, I believe, PubMed, I believe is what it was. And it took cyclists that were already trained, maybe not yet a pro level, but were already significantly trained. And they took them through a 10-day protocol of heat training. I believe it was 40 degrees Celsius. And keep in mind, this is 10 days. This isn't, a 6-week protocol. This is 10 days. And the improvements they saw were actually pretty insane. So their VO2 max in the cold, improved by about 5%. 5% increase in their VO2 max. And an 8% increase in the hot. Performing in a hot and cold time trial. Their lactate threshold, your FTP, improved by 5%. We think when we hit plateaus and all that stuff in our VO2 max and our threshold, and you can improve it by 5% in 10 days. A 5% increase in 10 days. Like, just really let that sink in. 5% doesn't seem like a ton, but it really is when you're talking about that. And then they did, raw power. They did a time trial. I believe it was either 5 kilometers or it was a 30-minute time trial. I believe it was 5 kilometers. And they seen a 6 to 8% improvement. Now, it is worth mentioning that they had a control group do the identical training, except without the heat. And the control group saw no improvements. That's insane. It's proving that a 10-day protocol can have all these improvements. Now we say the poor man's altitude training. They also seen an improvement in that. A 6.5% plasma volume increase. They say, a couple week protocol, maybe even 10-day protocol, is the same as doing an elevation camp. For people maybe training for Leadville, high elevation races, can start their altitude training before they even get to Colorado or their elevation. How big of an improvement would that make? Not only raw power, but in the heat, there's an increase. A bigger increase than in the cool. But it's worth mentioning the risks. If you do not do heat training correctly, you could die. You could die from heat training. Not only can you die from heat training, from a heat stroke, but if you are dehydrated, you are not hydrating after the fact, or even during the fact, just a 1 to 2% dehydration in your body, 3 to 5% decrease in your entire performance. Now listen to this. This is even worse. 3 to 5% dehydration, 30 to 50% of your fitness gone because of heat training. Training is making you worse. It can kill you if you are doing it wrong. You're not hydrating enough. You're increasing your core temperature too much. If you increase your core temperature too much, it's not even just your physical improvement, or that it can kill you. Physical progress and physical performance. It can mess with your brain, your focus, your reaction time. In cross country, even on the road, when you're in a huge peloton, reaction time is so important. Maybe being able to react to a sprint, to an attack, it matters. Even if you don't care about the health benefits and the health risks of this, the performance decrease if you do this wrong is insane. Saying you can do it wrong. Increasing your core temperature too much. Training too much. Overtraining. We hear that a lot. Consistency is what is going to make the most improvement, not 3-hour heat training session, right? They say 50 minutes is 50 minutes in the specific heat zone. Getting a core temperature, even a thermometer, even if that's inaccurate, is it's safer if you at least do a thermometer and make sure you're not overheating yourself. Make sure your body temperature isn't 104, right? You're literally like being cooked in an oven, right? But there was a study done by, I believe it was like Journal of Science and Medicine, I believe it was something like that, and they tested thermal clothing, so normal riding conditions, but they had a ton of clothing on, which is what most of us do, because we aren't rich and have $10,000 saunas. But they also did a heat chamber, which would be like a sauna, or I have right back here a turkey bind with a heater in it. And then they did thermal clothing with heat exposure after. I believe it was a hot bath for this study. And this basically means that they not only did the heat training, the actual exercise of it, but after they had heat exposure, which would increase their core body temperature and make it harder for the body to cool down. Now, in theory, you think that would be the most improvement, stressing your body out more and harder to cool down. But they actually seen no difference in 3 of these methods. They've seen a 9 to 10% increase across all groups. There was no significant difference. So this means you do not need a $10,000 sauna. You do not need to torture yourself after a heat session and stay in a bath for 50 minutes, or a hot tub, or a sauna. You don't need to do that. As long as you are getting the full potential, in your exercise heat training, you have nothing to worry about. Now, how do you actually do this? Well, that's for another video. But I want you to consider the risks of heat training, but also the benefits. Heat training in a controlled environment, so then when you are in a race, in an uncontrolled environment, when you're in the middle of a woods, that you can control this heat, control your body temperature, and not only control your body temperature, but increase your performance, make you a better racer. I want to talk a little bit about my personal experience with heat training, because with heat training, it is going to be the hardest 10-day protocol of your life. Maybe not of your life, but it is very, very, very strenuous, and it will practically break you. I did a heat session, not yesterday, but the day before. I lost almost 3 pounds in 50 minutes. So in this time frame, how I kept myself safe and hydrated. Obviously, I dehydrated the crap out of myself. I only weigh like 125 pounds. You're taking 3 pounds of weight? That's insane. That's insane dehydration. And there was an insane dip in my performance. Take this into consideration. In zone 1, I was at 97% of my max heart rate. That's insane. I'm pretty new to heat training, which is clear. My body is not good at training and performing in the heat, which is why I'm doing it. I'm only doing 1 session a week, and it's horrible. It's going to impact your performance. Adding on to that, make sure you are not doing VO2 max intervals during your heat session. Normally in your heat sessions, you'll be in very low zone 2. Especially when you first start, it's going to suck. It's going to suck so bad. Zone 2 is going to feel hard after half an hour, maybe even before half an hour. Like I said, in zone 1, my heart rate was 97% of my max heart rate. That's almost unheard of. It's going to suck. You have to push through. If you do, you don't. Yes, you have to push through and suffer, but you can't torture yourself. If you're feeling lightheaded, like you're going to pass out, you need to get off. There's no point in pushing yourself to a point of death or a heat stroke or just the passing out. That's insane. Not even passing out, but decreasing your performance. It's so counterintuitive. I hope you guys got something from this video. Learn something. Learn the risks of heat training, because I don't think we talk about it enough. We talk about how amazing it is, and it is an amazing tool. But the risks of it can be life-threatening. And I just want to make a video about that. And be cautious if you are doing heat training. I 100% will promote heat training. 100% recommend it. I hope you start. Don't be too scared. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys got something for the video. And until the next video, work hard.